What's going on, guys? Back with another affordable fragrance video just for you. So I was looking over my collection and a couple of fragrances that I've kind of been debating on adding to the rotation because I haven't worn in a little while, and some that I have wore very recently kind of sparked a video idea that I thought maybe some of you may be interested in. So here I want to bring you 10 cheap fragrances that, yeah, they're definitely cheap, they're affordable, you're not going to spend a lot of money, but they smell really damn good. They don't smell super cheap, in my opinion, to my nose. So let's talk about them. Stay tuned. Starting with what I deem to be the best of the line. Now, granted, I haven't tried the new red flanker, but in the Montblanc Legend line, I think it doesn't get any better than Legend EDP. This stuff is rich and robust. It's got this warm, fruity apple smell. It's so beautiful. A little bit of violet leaf going on. It starts to come in more and more. It still smells like Legend, but it's a much more smooth, polished, slightly matured version, I guess you could say. Performance is great without being a beast. For me, it's in that 7 to 8 hour range. I guess technically you could call it 6 to 8 hours of longevity, which is kind of the sweet spot for me personally. It's not an overwhelming projector, though I wouldn't spray this one super heavy because it probably could be an overwhelming fragrance if you go that route. But it just smells really good. If Legend itself was a bit more youthful and too similar to Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce for you, you might want to take a look into this one because this is the best one to come out since Legend Intense, in my personal opinion, because that was light years better than the original. It was truly an intense version of Legend. Here, it's a more smooth and rich version of Legend. It's, like I said, it kind of adds a maturity to it. It dresses up a little bit better, though still a great daytime scent at the same time. So check this one out if you've yet to. It's really, really good for the money. They've gotten quite affordable at this point. It's Montblanc Legend EDP. With this next one, I'm shocked at how much I actually enjoy this fragrance. Like, I kind of end up making myself go with other fragrances so I don't just wear it over and over. I do spray it a lot more than you may realize because it's not always in the rotation videos. But since I got Draco Intense from Guy Laroche, I've got a newfound love for the brand and the line as a whole. Now, I know this is a reimagining, technically a reimagining of the original, which I've never smelled, has been long discontinued many, many, many years ago. It does have some similarity to Dracar Noir, which I was never really a huge fan of, but I feel like this is kind of a modern barbershop fragrance, technically. Anytime they add a little bit of booziness to a barbershop aromatic, kind of like Azaroporum Intense, for example, it really speaks to me. That's kind of become my favorite type of aromatic spicy fragrance, is one that's got a little bit of booze going on. I believe there's a little bit of absinthe in here that adds a little bit of that fresh, boozy type of nuance. The technical note breakdown that I've seen for it doesn't really offer any boozy notes that I know of, and they don't really show any vanilla, but I believe there's a little vanilla in the dry down because it gets a little sweet in the dry down. But up top, it's aromatic, it's spicy, it's woody. Like I said, it's got that boozy hit. There's some freshness here. It's smooth and refined, but not too serious. I feel like you can wear this one with a t-shirt, but it definitely dresses up very well. Performs better than I actually anticipated it to. Definitely not a beast, but it seems to go beyond 6 hours, 6, 7, sometimes even 8 hours on my skin. But it's not real heavy. After about an hour, hour and a half, it really gets a lot closer to the skin, but it stays pretty consistent for the most part. It's not a real in-your-face type of fragrance, but it is a great workplace fragrance, that is for sure. And you can get these for $40 or less all over the place on the internet at this point, and it is a new release. So definitely one that's worth checking out. It's affordable, but it smells really, really good in my opinion. That is the new Draco Intense. Oldie but a goodie, cheapie but a goodie. That being Salvatore Ferragamo F Black. So I think I'm going to start reaching back in the collection for this one. I haven't been wearing it much in quite a while. I sprayed it when I was deciding what fragrances were going to go in this lineup. And I haven't talked about this one in a while. And guys, if you like aromatic, spicy, kind of like what I was saying about Draco Intense, I'm not saying they smell similar, but This is a lot of lavender and pepper. I really, really like that. Spicy aromatics really do a lot for me. This is kind of the budget version of La Nuit de l'Homme. It's been compared to La Nuit de l'Homme many times over the years, and I can see some of the similarities. This is definitely not near as powdery and not near as sweet. I do think La Nuit de l'Homme is a better fragrance overall, but in the sub $30 price point, this is pretty hard to beat. This is a great collection builder. This is a great affordable. It's been so hyped up over the years, it's hard to call it cheap hidden gem, but it kind of is because the masses still don't know that much about it. It'll pull a compliment here and there. It's a above average performer, not really a beast. It's great during the day in cooler weather. It's great out on a date. It doesn't smell super synthetic to me. It always works well in a pinch, and like I said, it's one I haven't been wearing, so I kind of want to reach back to it and really put it in a couple of rotations and kind of fall back in love with it all over again, because it is still a great fragrance that you can get for a great price. Salvatore Ferragamo. This is F Black. One that at the recording of this, I did check Kingdom Fragrances just to make sure, because for me, cheap is under $50, and this is $48.98 currently from Kingdom Fragrances, which is in the link tree in the video description if you're interested, for Paco Rabanne's Ultra Red Man. I just wore this one the other day. This is such a great fragrance. Performs very well. Gimmick bottle, don't get me wrong. But zesty, spicy orange that starts to settle into this creamy creamsicle, orange creamsicle type of smell. Known to be a great replacement for the, discontinued, very expensive to get Amen Ultra Zest. It's been a long time since I smelled Ultra Zest. I only smelled it once, so I can't confirm, because I don't really remember exactly how it smells. I can't really confirm how close it smells to it, but I gotta tell you, as its own individual thing, this is an awesome fragrance that doesn't smell like everything else. Like I said, I love zesty orange, zesty, spicy type of appeal. And then it changes pretty rapidly to a much more creamy, smooth fragrance. Beautiful. Definitely pulls a compliment here and there. My wife was kind of blown away by this one the other day when I wore it, because I haven't worn it in a long time. I don't really know if she ever even smelled it prior to this. She loved it. Loved the way this smells. And I really do as well. And granted, it's the most expensive in this video. It's definitely one of the best in this video. It's cheap. On the higher end of cheap. It definitely smells really damn good. If you've yet to get your nose on this one, find a way to secure a decant, get a sample, or if you're feeling froggy, roll the dice and blind buy it if it sounds good. Because I think it's safe. Ultra Red Man. Paco Rabanne. Now, the main thing that makes this so special is these 40 ml bottles are $15 at Burlington. That's where I got this one. Nothing about this smells cheap to me. This is from Joop. This is Joop Wow. But this is the fresh flanker. See right at the bottom says fresh for men. This is a violet leaf fragrance that has a little bit of geranium that kind of gives a fresh, spicy, almost herbal appeal without really bringing the mintiness that geranium typically brings. I mean, there's a little hit of it. It adds to the freshness, a little minty green type of smell, but it's more about violet leaf, a bit fresher spice. And there's a bourbon vanilla note supposedly in here, and I don't really get a whole lot of vanilla. It does have a little bit of an aquatic feel because of the violet leaf, without being very watery. It kind of reminds me of the Fahrenheit line, but a much more fresher take. From what I understand from a few friends of mine, this is almost a dead ringer, kind of like a cheaper version of Aqua Fahrenheit that's been discontinued for quite some time. I've never smelled Aqua Fahrenheit, so I can't confirm that myself. But for $15 for this 40 ml, it does not smell cheap. This stuff smells like it doesn't even belong on this list, honestly, because it still surprises me every time I smell it. This is only $15. Granted, it's a little over 1 ounce, but a little over 1 ounce can go a long way, depending on how you spray, depending on how often you'll wear it, because if you have a sizable collection, you won't wear it all the time. And 40 ml, like for me, will go a very, very long time. But it's a really good fragrance. If you see this one out at the rack stores for $40, I say roll the dice if you like violet leaf. I would say know that going into it, because it's not a challenging or daring fragrance or anything to where I can't sit here and call it blind buy safe. But if you know you like the note of violet leaf, then yeah, you're bound to like this. And it's super, super cheap. You can do a lot worse with $15. This is extremely cheap, but smells really damn good to me. Joop Wow Fresh. One that I haven't worn in a little while myself. I haven't spoke about this one in some time on the channel. This is another one that when I smelled it, it intrigued me, and I think it's going to go into my next week's rotation because I kind of have the majority of options I want to choose from spread out for the remainder of this week at the recording of this video. But Jimmy Choo Man Blue, one that not too many people really talk about. It's definitely one of the sweeter blue fragrances because it's a lot of vanilla in the dry down here, but it's standard blue stuff. And when I say standard blue stuff, I mean it's bright and fresh up top. There's a little bit of citrus. It's a little bit woody. There's not really an aquatic hit here. This one's sweeter than most. Like I said, it has that aromatic feel without being really soapy. There's a little bit of a soapy feel here in the beginning as it gets into the heart. But when it starts to dry down, it's a little bit more on the powdery and sweet side, kind of like a tonka bean vanilla combo. Doesn't really have any earthiness. There's a little bit of a green feel here in the background as well, without being a really spicy fragrance. It's very versatile, but like I said, more on the sweet side of what most blues will offer. So if you like sweet fragrances and you were looking for that, and most blue fragrances just don't really do it for you, this might be the one to look at. 100 milliliter bottles go in the sub $40 range. It's an average performer. Not going to sit here and pretend like it's some 8-10 hour fragrance. It's in that 5 to 6 hour range on my skin, which is okay. Not great, but not bad at the same time. Definitely not a weak fragrance. And this one will pull the occasional compliment. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's some sort of magnet. It's not for me anyways. It may be for some others out there. But the main reason I wanted to feature this one in the first place is it's so affordable. It's underrated. Not a lot of people feature it, talk about it, wear it, discuss it. It's just a little bit different from the other blues. It doesn't smell like all of them. You can get it for a great price and it smells great. It really does. This is one of those blue fragrances that'll work well in evenings, dates, and cooler weather for sure because of that sweet powdery nature that it has in the dry down. Is it my favorite blue? No, but I do think it's a very solid fragrance, especially for the money. Uniqueness among blues is a rare thing, and by no means is this unique, but it's just a little bit different from the rest. So definitely cheap, definitely smells really good. Jimmy Choo Man Blue. Now, don't get me wrong, this is the most synthetic fragrance in the video, but it just smells so good to me. I've recommended this one many, many times. They pop up at the rack stores all the time. Even online, you can find bottles for around 40 bucks, which still is not bad, but you can definitely get them cheaper in the rack stores. Talking about Abercrombie and Fitch First Instinct Together. This is one of my favorite fragrances. I have multiple bottles of this. Right now we have oddly had snow and single-digit temperatures, when last week we were in the 60s and 70s were the highs. So we're kind of getting 3 seasons right now here in Colorado Springs, but once I start getting more into the spring weather, I'm going to be pulling this one out. Don't get me wrong, it's best for warm weather, but it just smells so damn good. It really is great. It's Invictus Aqua meets the original First Instinct meets YSL. It's kind of a hybrid fragrance. I get a little bit of all of them. I get a little bit of that watery melon type of smell of the original. I get a little bit of that sage ambergris type of smell that Y has with that aquatic grapefruit hit of Invictus Aqua. That's why I say it kind of reminds me of a mixture of the three. And very affordable, loud for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Admittedly, only about 4 to 5 hours on my skin in longevity, but it is pretty loud. It will pull in some attention as long as you're okay with synthetic, because it is a heavily synthetic fragrance. If that bothers you, gives you headaches, anything like that, you'll hate this fragrance. But if you don't mind a synthetic fragrance, I mean, this one does smell a little bit cheaper than the rest because of the synthetic nature of it, don't get me wrong, but the scent profile, to me anyways, is just so damn good. It's cheap and it just smells so damn good in my opinion. That's why I just had to put it in this video. If you see this one pop up, roll the dice. This is the one fragrance I always recommend rolling the dice and blind buying. Give it a try. Even if you end up not liking it, I'll take the heat because I love this fragrance. It's damn good. Abercrombie and Fitch, First Instinct Together. This one definitely doesn't smell like the 21 bucks I paid for it from FragranceBuy.ca. It sells out every time it restocks most places. You're going to pay $20 to $30 for this. It performs really good. It smells relatively unique. It's sweet. It's fresh. It's fruity. It's woody. It's different. It's very, very different. We have another Youp fragrance that being Youp Homme Ice. I really, really enjoy this one. And once the cooler weather starts to get away from me, I mean, it's going to be a while before I have really high heat. I still have a good amount of time left to wear this one. That stuff just smells so good. Another one that does not come across synthetic that you can get for such a good price. This is such a great cheap fragrance. It really is. I still can't believe I like a Youp fragrance this much. I like it even more than Youp Wild Fresh. Youp's been stepping up their game the last couple of years. There's a lot of the Youp flankers I still want to get my hands on. And this one is the one that made me a believer again. Because I'm not a fan of the original Youp, especially not today's version. I have a bottle. I just have it. I don't like how it smells. It's a chemical synthetic mess to me. But Youp Homme Ice, this is some good stuff. Youp Wild Fresh, that is some good stuff. I need to get more of the flankers. Youp Homme Absolute, Youp Homme EDP, some of the Youp Homme Wild, some of these flankers that really have my interest. And this is a great one. This is a pretty safe one to get your hands on. It'll make you believe it's super minty fresh. And yes, there's a little bit of that here, but it's not crazy fresh like this color scheme and the name Ice would make you think. This is much more sweet and fruity than it will lead you to believe. But damn, is it good. It's got a lot of character, and it does perform above average. This is a 6 to 8 hour fragrance in longevity on my skin, and it can be very loud. So depending on your setting or your style, mindful of the sprays or spray away. But this is definitely a great cheapie. Great smelling cheapie. Wow. Get your hands on this one if you can. Youp Homme Ice. So one that is very affordable, the most beastly fragrance in this video, super versatile, and the safest blind buy from the house. This is one of my personal favorite independent houses. Great man that runs the operation and creates the fragrances. Shout outs to you, Mr. E.J. Wells. We're talking about Happy Land Studio, and we're talking about my favorite, Shameless. So there is a link that is not an affiliate link. It's there for convenience in my link tree with a coupon code to save you 20% off long term. And when you get this with 20% off, it comes out to about 40 bucks for this bottle. And you don't need but 3 or 4 sprays. And I mean, these sprays, let me back up a little bit, are massive. Oh, it smells so good. It's a little bitter citrus, orange, fruity, black currant type of smell up top. It starts to settle into some soapy lavender, this aquatic feel of an ambergris note. Sweet vanilla comes in. Starts to turn into a bit of a blue fragrance, honestly. It looks like kind of a somewhat Aventus note breakdown. When you look at the note breakdown, I was worried at first before I smelled it. Doesn't smell like Aventus. It'll remind you of it in the opening for a few minutes, and then it changes drastically and takes its own path and becomes its own thing. This is a lot of orange, blackcurrant, lavender, vanilla, and ambergris. That's the main notes that I get from this one, and it is frickin' lovely. Musky, too. Definitely a nice, bright, clean muskiness from that ambergris to go with that kind of aquatic, watery nuance that it provides. It's an interesting ambergris that he used here and the way it works with the other notes. Performance is stout. I get every bit of 10 hours on my skin with this, and it's loud. Like I said, you don't need but 3, maybe 4 of those big old sprays, because it equates to 6 to 8 sprays, because these big old sprays are like 2 of everything else. This is the one. Don't get me wrong, he's got a bunch of fragrances that are just amazing, full of character, spices and gourmands and all these different originals. But I like the mass appealing stuff. I just really do. It's what speaks to me the most. And this is the one mass appealing fragrance from the house. Get yourself a sample at the very least and try it. Happy Land, Shameless. Last but not least, this is becoming my favorite cheap fragrance for the money, for what you get, because Invictus Aqua is my personal favorite fragrance, period. And this is a great replacement for it. This is Jesus del Pozo Halloween Man Hero. I got this 4.2 ounce for 40 bucks from FragranceBuy.ca not that long ago, in the same order that I got Youp Homme Ice, actually. And I've done a full review on this one. This is the soapier version. More of a shower gel fragrance than Invictus Aqua is probably the best way I could put it. Because instead of having violet and violet leaf to provide that floral powdery tone that Invictus Aqua has, this has a nice dose of lavender to give it a soapy aromatic feel. That's the main difference. Those of you that have heard me speak of this before, you've heard me say these exact things, same things, but it's such a great fragrance. It performs above average. It is pretty loud for about 2 hours. This will grab people. This is a compliment getter. This stuff is great. It's mega aquatic. It's built for the heat. But if you're the type that just likes to wear fresh stuff and be fresh and clean all the time, I've come to the conclusion that this is one of the best out there, especially from an affordable side. Don't get me wrong. We mentioned First Instinct together. It does have some similarities to Invictus Aqua, but this is a dead ringer for it. Like I said, subtle differences here. There are differences, mainly that lavender versus violet type of feel. But this is good stuff. I'm super happy to have this one. As it heats up, you'll continue to see me recommending this to you guys because I really feel like more people should give this one a chance. I think this was a great release from last year. And it fits the video topic perfectly. It's cheap, but it smells great. Get your hands on this one, guys. I'm telling you. Awesome stuff if you like Invictus Aqua. Halloween Man Hero. Well, that's the 10 that I have for you today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. What in this video do you have already or have you tried before? And if you have tried some of these, what do you think about them? Very curious on you guys' opinion. If not, what in this video sparked your interest and maybe kind of has the wheels turning like, I might like that. I might have to take his advice on this one. Again, all my opinions, take my advice with a grain of salt. If you can sample first, sample first. I blind buy so you don't have to. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of these 10 and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.